Okay, it's not. It's being tricky. And welcome everybody to the 12 o'clock show with Mayor Joe. I think we're all connected all the way across, and I'd like to introduce my guest today, Governor DeWine's Chief of Staff, Stephanie McCloud. Welcome to the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm glad to be here and apologize that I couldn't be with you in person, but still appreciate the invitation. Oh, it's Wednesday noon. There's the sirens.
It's always a nice little thing to time that all together there. Well, first of all, I hope the governor's feeling better. I did see recently that COVID has re-entered the equation a little bit. So maybe it probably is a good thing that we're all separate today.
Yeah, I don't normally work from home. I'm a work in the office person. I spent a little bit of time with the governor on Monday, even less on Tuesday. Not anything that would probably qualify as exposure, but just to be on the safe side, working remote for a couple of days, and then I'll take a test just to be sure.
Well, again, I do appreciate you making the time. I have got a couple of questions for you. First of all, why don't you let everybody know, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to your current role.
I was born and raised in Cincinnati, did my undergrad at Ohio University, go Bobcats,
Yep.
In journalism. I graduated from the Honors College at the Journalism School. I stayed and did master's work in political science, finished all my coursework, but prior to taking my oral comps, I started law school. So I didn't finish my oral comps, came to Columbus for law school. And while I was in law school, started interning for then Governor Voinovich, then Lieutenant Governor DeWine. That was a fantastic experience, other than it didn't pay. If you knew George Voinovich, you are not surprised. Even worse, what I tell people is I had to pay to park. Mm-hmm. So I actually had to pay. I worked a second job while I was going to law school full time to help pay bills in a small law firm. My first job out of law school, I was a staff attorney at the Bureau of Workers' Compensation. That was actually where I met my husband. It is people ask how we met. We're like, well, we met at work, and they're like, oh, well, where'd you work? And it doesn't get any more exciting. It was the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation. So I was there for about a year and got a call from the governor's office. They asked me to come back. And so I was a deputy staff attorney for Governor Voinovich at the time. When he left office, I worked at an agency that no longer exists. It was called the Ohio Bureau of Employment Services. And we worked on the merger of ODJFS, the agency we know today. Went to, after that, I was at ODOT as a deputy chief and chief legal counsel. When Jim Petro became Attorney General, I worked for him as a section chief and then as his chief counsel. From there, I actually stayed on at the AG's office with Mark Dan for a period of time, and then was recruited to a now global organization, corporation, and was there full time for about 4 years, and then went out on my own, started my own law firm, started my own lobbying firm, and did that for 8 years until Governor DeWine. I got a tap and some folks were asking if I was interested in being the administrator at the Bureau of Workers' Compensation, of which I had tons of experience, both in state government and out. I did that for about 1.5 years before I got one of the stranger calls in my career, which was I was standing outside I was at Easton, just kind of walking around, and I get a call from the governor, and he said, "What would you think about going over to health?" This was after Amy Acton had departed, and there was an acting director. And I said, I started laughing. And I laughed for a while first, and then he laughed because I couldn't stop laughing. And then we had a serious conversation about it. And I agreed that I would go over for a period of time and help get the vaccine rolled out, help get some things under control, try to get our data systems updated, get the budget through. And then finally, so I went to the Department of Health and left there, golly, I think it was the end of 21. I went back to BWC. I was there for less than a year before conversations started happening about an interest in having me come be the chief of staff. And that's where I'm at now.
Well, I mean, I will say ODOT, Bureau of Workers' Compensation, Attorney General's office, some can have some excitement with it, but a lot of times, like you said, it's kind of not always, but definitely the COVID thing. And I think we met each other at one of the sites for COVID testing. I think probably was it maybe I think within the first couple of weeks after you were appointed to that position. It was pretty quick, as I recall.
Yeah, there was a mass vax clinic at Huber. At Huber Park, and I was really excited to see lines of cars lined up, and it was very well done. But yeah, I went to my share of mass vax clinics after that, and it was a time none of us will ever forget.
No, and hopefully never have to repeat. That's just my thought on that one. One global pandemic is enough for me.
Exactly. I think that's enough for everyone. Yeah, I agree.
Well, so now that you're the chief of staff, people have seen TV shows and they see what chief of staffs do in TV and things like that. And I know you and we actually had a conversation probably about maybe a little bit less than a year ago, not long after the train derailment. And, you had that look of being up to about here at that point in time. So tell me, what's it like to be the chief of staff to the governor of Ohio?
It's busy. It is hectic. It is what I say is my schedule's not my own. If we weren't live, the governor just called me. I would have put you on hold and said, my schedule's not my own. As you know, I think we had this scheduled before and I had to cancel. My schedule moves around a lot, and it's everything. It's everything that happens in the state. It's everything. Yes, from budget and legislature to court cases to, our own policy, our own agencies trying to get things done, trying to get the governor's initiatives put forward. The governor said in his state of the state, this is Ohio's time. And he's right. We have intel coming in. He just made the announcement on Monday about Joby, which to me is like Jetson stuff. If you didn't have a chance to see that, by all means, please go back and read about that. It is flying taxis. Yep. For us kids who grew up with the Jetsons, that was make believe. And here we are. So very exciting news. We have more business coming in all the time. We actually need more people in the state of Ohio. We need more people to stay. We need more people to come. This is a problem because workforce is a problem everywhere. But the governor's working very, very hard on that. If you know the governor, you know that his morning starts very early and he goes all day, does not stop. I used to laugh. One of the worst things that I can hear is that something happened and his calendar got cleared, because that means my calendar's about to blow up, because he does not leave any time. If an hour opens up, he fills it with a meeting to get something else done. People used to ask me during the pandemic when I was health director, it was 7 days a week, right? It was 7 days a week. I remember telling, I think it was a General Assembly, that Sunday was our short day because that was 10 hours. That was the short day. We had no weekends off. I think we took off Christmas Day and maybe some of New Year's Day and Thanksgiving Day. But that was, as far as holidays go, that's it. And when I say take off, I don't mean I wasn't getting emails and things like that. It means I wasn't scheduled to be on calls. Yeah. And, moms do what moms do. And mom's like, well, how could you work every weekend? And how can you? And I said, well, Mom, it's not like, it's COVID, right? It's not like COVID looks at its watch and says, well, it's 5 o'clock on Friday, everybody. I'll see you Monday. Have a great weekend. I said, if it did, we would need the weekend just to try to catch up. But people ask me how I kept that pace. And I said, well, mostly it's ego and pride, because I'm trying to keep up with the governor and I'm not going to let him outwork me. I'm at least going to keep up. And he keeps an incredible pace. It's like none I've ever seen. But I love it. His enthusiasm, his desire to capture Ohio's time, because there's always a window, right? Where you have to, if you don't capture it, grab onto it and go with it, then you haven't maximized it. And he is grabbing onto it, and we are at the races.
Well, definitely a lot of things going on. Obviously, Reynoldsburg being so close to Licking County and Intel and everything that kind of seemed to kick off this Renaissance era, as it were, is definitely something that we're all paying attention to. So I think you kind of answered it, but I just want to make sure. What was the biggest surprise? So you get the position, and what was something you're like, wow, I wasn't expecting that? Because obviously the pace of the job is probably no different. I mean, you're used to fast pace, always moving. But what was the biggest surprise?
That's a great question. There were a few after being the health director during the pandemic, there were a few surprises left for me. In workforce. I've always said I'll never have a harder job than that. And the good news is the only upside of that particular position was that I'll never have a harder job than that. Every job after that, no matter how hard or how difficult, will be easier than that job. I just don't know if it was a surprise so much, but I've worked with the governor for several years. It wasn't, I don't know if I could lay out a single largest surprise. I've worked with him for years. He is a go, go, go. He spends a lot of time. I said, it doesn't matter. He loves good news. He loves things getting done, which we do. But I swear at the end of every meeting, when we lay out, here's all the stuff that we did, and he'll say, this is fantastic. This is great. I'm so glad we're getting all this done. What else can we do? And I'm used to that about him. It's been some interesting times. I guess some of the surprise has been pressure from the budget. I've not done the budget. I was with Voinovich, but I was in a much different role. I've not done the budget from the 30th floor. That process had a lot of fire drills to it. Yeah. And, redistricting's a lot of fun right now.
Well, you and I may have different definitions of fun, but we'll go with that. I can only imagine the go, go, go attitude. I think you have to be in that position. So you've been a resident for Reynoldsburg for a long time. So over the years, what have you seen that has changed in Reynoldsburg over the last 10, 20 years or so?
What I have loved about my time in Reynoldsburg, and I think Brad and I started dating in 97. And I didn't move out here right away, but I did shortly thereafter, is the growth, the attitude, the people. I love the increasing diversity of population has been fantastic. I have really enjoyed what I would call kind of a rebirth in Reynoldsburg. We were at a turning point some years back, and there were some struggles when I first came in. I mean, we were doing things like canceling the fireworks and canceling parades. We've overcome a lot of challenges. You think back about there was a lot of division over a second high school, and we made our way through it. People don't think about it so much now, but that was a do or die issue at the time. But the community worked through it together with the schools. And I have really appreciated how the community stays involved, and that increasing involvement and rebirth, whether it's bringing back fireworks and parades or a farmer's market or the new, and I apologize that I wasn't able to stay longer, but the new, where Kmart was, the new development. It is the spirit, I think, that I love the most about Reynoldsburg, and we're going to work through this, and the push forward and the don't give up.
Absolutely. So last question I have for you is, what advice would you give to young people out there to kind of have the success that you've had? I mean, you have an a great career, and you're not stopping, I'm sure, but what advice could you give the young people today?
Boy, I'd give them a ton of advice. I actually do. I do leadership trainings, but the crux of all of the advice I give frequently comes back to one saying that George Voinovich used to say, and I know that Mike DeWine feels the same. And that is this. It is take care of this job and the next one will take care of itself. People spend way too much time looking forward, looking past their current position. It causes them not to think about as much their current position and kind of making their mark. What a lot of people don't realize is when a position's coming open or when something's, even if it's not in your own company. So I was in the private sector when the governor won and the administrator was going to come open. Everyone in that room to think about that decision is already identifying who are good candidates for that role based on the job they're doing today, not based on, the interview, the resume. They absolutely matter. But people are identifying who to bring in for those based on the job you're doing today, not the job you want to do. And I hear a lot of young people sometimes and they'll say, well, I don't want to do this, or I don't want, that's the other thing I say to them is the phrase, that's not my job, is actually kind of a mission statement to the bottom. Nothing else will ever be your job, because as you move up through leadership, everything is your job. You have to solve problems that are new and different, and that's why you're in the role. So what I would say is take care of this job. The next one will take care of itself. People ask me all the time, what am I going to do next? And they've done that my whole career. And I always say the same thing. I actually don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm doing this now. I've got my nose to the grindstone. I'm side by side with the governor trying to grab Ohio's time. And then when I raise my head up, we'll see where that goes. If you looked at my resume, if I highlighted out my resume for you, all those jobs I talked about, I'm going to say one, maybe two are all I have applied for. The rest I was recruited to based on the job I was doing then. And that's the simplest. Everything else that I would talk about kind of stems back to that, but just making sure that you are doing your best, that you are, and when I say that's not my job, try to do everything just for the experience. And also that makes you a go-to person in what you're doing, and people and your experiences. Health director was not easy. I felt like it's nothing I would have asked for. It was barely something but when the governor asked, we talk a lot when you're in government, like you and I are, we talk a lot about public servant. And I remember saying at the time, either public servant means something or it doesn't. And in the biggest crisis of our lifetimes, if you can help, you need to help. But so if nothing else, though, it was an incredible experience, learning professional experience for me, even though it was difficult and hard. And there were lots of challenges that came with it, personal and professional. But for me, the professional experience of doing that, managing that, getting the vaccine rolled out efficiently, and that's something I take with me to other jobs.
Well, I appreciate it. You go ahead. You have permission, I guess, now to call the governor after we're off. Please extend my well wishes for a quick recovery. And if he ever wants to, if he has an hour or half hour open up on a Wednesday in the future, by all means, feel free and go ahead and fill that spot with my show. So
I will let his scheduler know.
All right. I do appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much, everyone. Stephanie McCloud from Reynoldsburg. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your 10 or 12 hours left in your day.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks. Great guest, lots of good information, but wait, there's more. You've all heard about it. This movie Barbie has kind of created a phenomenon, and the schools are going to take advantage of it. And joining me today is good friend and homecoming extraordinaire, Joe Sorensen. Joe, come on up and have a seat here in your best outfit of the day.
No, it's the jacket that throws you off.
It is. You came in and I was like, who is this? Who is this professional person here?
It's Wacky Wednesday, man. So
It
I had
is.
to actually go wacky. So obviously I figured for me, it's to put on something nice.
And it's definitely flipping the script a little bit from the wacky side of things.
It really is.
All right,
It
so
really is.
we've got a lot of things going on starting tomorrow. So I do appreciate you have the time to come here and talk to us about it. Give us the quick version of everything for tomorrow's homecoming parade, and any information about the football game or Saturday in the dance.
Excellent. So tomorrow, we start right after school. Our student council kids will stay after, and we will start, setting up a tent and getting things ready for anybody who's in the parade. to show up. We make it as simple as possible. You'll be seeing bright green student council shirts. When you pull in, if you're part of the parade, you'll pull in, you'll immediately see somebody in a bright green shirt, and they will absolutely take you right to your spot. Very simple, and you'll have, as much time as you need up until, we step off in order to get that done. We'll start letting people in. We say 4:15, but there's always some people that show up a little early. We'll be out there about 3:45. We'll start being ready for you. We step off at 6 o'clock. We go down Livingston Avenue. From the high school, we hang a right on Bartlett. We hang a right on Ives. We hang another right on Retton, and back to go right in front of Herbert Mills. That's always seems to be a really good spot. A lot of people hang out. I hear really good things about, Herbert Mills and that parking lot. And then we go right back to Rose Hill Road, back to the school, and we disperse from there. We will kick off, like I said, at 6 o'clock.
Yep.
So if you're on Livingston Avenue, you might want to try to figure out a way to get around, take Bryce Road down to Main, cut through, try to, obviously cutting through Huber is a little hard because we're going to take Rose Hill, and then we do go all the way up to Bartlett, but there's ways around.
It's not going to be a long, it's not like a 2-hour parade. It's a pretty quick thing all the way around. So, but it is good advice for that one. And we've got the football game on Friday night, and that's when we're hearing is that when the king and queen are going to be announced?
Yes, that is the crowning. It's on the football field. It happens. The football team usually runs off, the band goes out, and it's right before they set up to do the national anthem. The band will make a nice little walkway right there in the middle of the field. We'll come right down the 50-yard line. Everybody that's part of the court gets to have something nice said about them. And then we'll do the crowning right there on the side. We're going to have our royalty team from Reynoldsburg City royalty team. We'll be there to do the crowning.
Yep.
It's really special. The kids love it. And then, obviously the court, that's also a good thing. You'll actually see the court tomorrow. We have trucks. They'll be in trucks. They'll be out throwing candy out along with everybody else. So you can wave to the court and get to know them before Friday.
Now, you mentioned candy. That's a really good thing, because last year you did something different with candy.
I can't. Okay.
It was the day after.
Oh, yeah. So this year we are, Friday. That's right too. Friday we have another cleanup crew going back out Friday to clean up the parade route. So I know, Thursday night you're gonna go through, and it's gonna look like a wreck. It is.
There's gonna be a lot of candy out there.
It's literally gonna look like a parade went through the neighborhood. But Friday we start at 9 a.m. and we should be done by about noon, and we'll have that whole area cleaned up. I think we took 13 bags of trash.
Yeah.
So we clean up not only the candy, but we try to make it look really, really nice.
Yeah.
Try to make it look as if nothing's been through there.
Well, I wanted to mention that because that is something that, in essence, that you took it upon yourself, and your student council has taken upon themselves to go in and do this for the community, which has been great. So picking up everything out from there, and then obviously the dance is Saturday. I'm
asking Saturday's a big day for our kids. It's their homecoming dance, so you're gonna see a lot of teenagers out. They're gonna be out having a good time. That's just wish them well.
Yeah.
Please. And if they look like they're distraught, ask them if they need help, just get them to the dance, get them home from the dance safe. We want we're going to have upwards of 1,300 kids. We do every year at the dance. It's huge. Well, Reynoldsburg Police has always been really nice to us and hangs out in the parking lot to make sure people can get in and out safe. But if you see our kids out, man, wish them well and hopefully, cheer them on, because this is special for them.
Yeah.
These are where memories are made in high school. These are the memories that we take with us, and which is why I love doing this, because I want to make sure that every kid has the opportunity to have those good memories. I don't want to take that for granted.
Now, do you have any special outfit for you tomorrow? Because I know tomorrow at the parade, you're kind of like more administering everything. So
we picked the perfect thing. It's actually for Thursday. It's employment day, Barbie employment day. So I'm going to be dressed up as the world's greatest teacher.
There we go.
Who runs a homecoming parade.
Yep.
That is my outfit.
It's very specific, much like a lot of Barbie characters are.
Absolutely.
It's very specific.
And I guarantee you'll be able to see it. You'll understand it right when you see it. It'll look so like me.
Absolutely. Well, Joe, as always, thank you for all that you do for our students. Thank you for all that you do for our community, especially with putting on this parade. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people who don't even have kids, who are not part of that world, they will come out and they will watch the parade and they have a good time with it. So again, thank you for everything.
If you need anything, let me know.
I
appreciate you being the voice for us and having our back.
Always. Appreciate
you.
it, Joe.
We did have one question.
Oh, there we
I
go.
just wants to know, will there be police at the school after the parade to direct traffic?
Yeah, there's usually somebody out there.
There's people. I mean, there's always police around. It's pretty heavy. I can't. I'm usually so wrapped up in just trying to get everything put away.
Yeah, there's somebody out usually at the intersection right where at Rose Hill and Livingston, right at that area. And then usually they're a little bit further down at the entrance. Like if you're coming in towards the field house area, there's usually somebody in that area to kind of help get the flow going to where it needs to.
I would just ask everybody, just have patience.
And drive slow. You don't, trust me, you don't need to, there's no speed racing going on right now. So
Everybody, it's usually 30-35 minutes after the parade that the parking lot's empty. So every year it's been empty after the parade. It will move. It's just take your time.
all right.
That's it.
All right, go teach and have some
Thank
fun
you.
today.
Yep. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so again, Joe Sorensen, who's going to be dressed as the best teacher ever that runs a parade tomorrow for the homecoming parade. So go ahead and check that out. Other things going on with our schools. We have the next meeting with the board members. Basically, it's a community conversation. It's going to be Tuesday, September 26th from 6 to 7 at the Welcome Center on Graham. President Angela Abram and board member Neil Whitman will be there. Also got some other fun things going on. We have the Reynoldsburg Education Foundation is going to have their gala coming up on Thursday, the 28th. Tickets are $45. It's at 1883 Locale, which is right above VIX. It's going to have a silent auction and all the funds go to the Education Foundation so they can do these mini grants for teachers and their students. So it's a great opportunity. One of the more fun things in there is bidding on throwing a pie in the face of the chief of police and the mayor. So that's always a fun thing. And that'll happen in a couple of weeks at a Raider football game. We do have some updates on Main Street. As you saw, the curb was put in on Monday, and right now they're putting in basically the underground electric currents all the way throughout. So they're doing that today. The goal is, weather permitting, that next week they'll be putting in the driveways and the approaches, and probably towards the end of next week or the week after is where they put the sidewalks in. And once that happens, everything moves really fast. So we're right on schedule to get this thing taken care of by, I would say, mid to late October at this point in time, depending on weather. I know there's some rain in the forecast next week, but it's Ohio, so it could change in 20 minutes. We do have a Wagner Road update. We are moving forward with that one. You're looking to see some utility work done in that area starting in, I would say, late October, early November at this point. Once we have an identifiable traffic pattern and things like that, we'll have some open house meetings and we'll let everybody know about that. We have the Turo open house for the fire department at the Livingston facility on Sunday, October 1st at 11 a.m. So if that's something you want to go ahead and check out there, it's a great opportunity to see a little bit about what our friends at the Turo Township Fire Department do. And make sure you ask them how the softball game and the basketball game went this year. They really want to talk about it. They're very proud of their accomplishments, because sometimes, you learn more from losing than you do from winning. So they learned a lot this year. So go ahead and make sure you have those conversations with them. Some cool programs coming on. We also have a Pioneer Day this weekend. It's actually on Saturday from 11 to 2 at the Livingston House. So there's all sorts of cool things there. We have a Friday night family camp out at Huber Park on October 6th into 7th in the morning. It's at Huber Park. They're going to have the Lego Batman movie on that night, and they're going to have some breakfast and dinner, hot dogs and things like that. Not hot dogs for breakfast, but then you never know, maybe they will. You also have the mother-son Halloween dance on Thursday, October 26th. That's at the Senior Center. They get their dinner from O'Charlie's, so they'll be there. There'll be some party favors and things like that, but the space is limited. So if you want to register for that, please go ahead and check out the Parks and Recs page. And the next thing I want to say is just in general, there's no real sports things. Registration windows have closed and everything's kind of transitioning. But if you're out there this weekend and you see a coach that's volunteering, a parent that's volunteering, or you see somebody out there that's being the official, just tell them thank you. It is a huge thing. It is not an easy job to be a youth sports coach. These are people that are giving up a little bit of their time. They can't be the spectator. They're out on the field trying to do what they can. Just say thank you, and thank you to the refs, even if they are blind and don't make good calls at times. Please thank them, because they're at least trying, and we're all about the effort. Beyond that, we also have the Huber Trail work that is being done. We actually had a meeting on site today. So you're going to start seeing some removal of some of the invasive species, the low level stuff, the honeysuckle and things like that. But some stream bank reinforcement is going to be coming in, and they're going to clear out some of the stuff that is invasive. You'll start seeing that over the next couple of weeks. And while you're at it, you will also start to finally see some movement on the Alliance property. Chief of Staff McCloud was talking about the former Kmart building. You're going to see some of that asphalt and everything be taken up actually starting next week, which is going to be great. So that way they can get all of their water and sewer together and all that. So that's finally moving along there. This week, the rest of the week, in addition to Barbie week of the school, it's also Constitution week. Now, this was a little bit of an odd year. Constitution Day actually came on a Sunday, so we didn't do our usual standing out in front of City Hall in our American Revolutionary gear with our Daughters of the American Revolution group that we have. I did not get to dress up a little bit this year, so we'll have to kind of make up for it in the future. But think about it this time. This is a week where, we do celebrate our Constitution and all the freedoms it provides for everybody. Beyond that, the next big thing that we've got is the Reynoldsburg Chamber of Commerce lunch. It's going to be on October 5th. And as you know, there are no opposed races here in Reynoldsburg this year. So what we're going to do is we're going to shift and have a community conversation. It's an opportunity for the chief of police, myself, a couple members from the school board, and hopefully some city council. They're just working on some scheduling there. We'll be at the Chamber of Commerce lunch at the Reynoldsburg Community Church off Graham Road. And we're just doing a Q&A. You'll have an opportunity to come in and ask questions about the schools, about the police department, about the city, all the way across. And it's just a good conversation. So you don't have to listen to speeches or look at PowerPoints or anything like that. It's just a good conversation to find out what's going on in the city from the people who are working hard for everybody out there. So if you're interested, look up the Chamber of Commerce on Facebook or their webpage, and they'll be having that link up there. Lunch is $20, but don't worry, it's a great lunch. It's actually supplied by Hickory House. And I believe they're doing their ribs for lunch this time. So that's going to be messy, most likely, but at least the ribs will be there and it'll be a lot of fun. We have a couple of cash drops, again, always supporting our school district. We've got the Reynoldsburg basketball teams, both men and women, will be doing their cash drop on Saturday, September 30th. The next day, boys volleyball on October 1st. And a couple weeks after that, you've got the swim team coming up on October 14th. And one really cool thing that we're just starting to get into, you may have seen it out and from the governor's office. In just a few years, it is going to be America's 250th birthday. And so everybody's being asked to kind of put a team together. And we here at Reynoldsburg have somebody that's volunteered for it. My assistant, Jessica Rosenthal, has actually taken the lead on the Celebrate USA 2050 Bash. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But if you want to be part of this and have a more robust, exciting 4th of July parade and fireworks and all of these things, reach out to Jessica because she's going to go ahead and get that together. And I'm sure she's going to put a crack team to help out with that one, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Be coordinating with the state because this is not just going to be Reynoldsburg. This is going to be everything throughout the state. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Any questions pop up at all? All right. Well, everybody, as always, you can always send your questions at any point in time to social media. We can go ahead and answer them here on the show. You can send them in advance. I will say, just for reference, yesterday there was a graffiti issue in our parks that was taken care of relatively fast. I do recommend, while yes, we do look at Facebook and we do see things, it would probably be faster to go ahead and just give us a call and say, hey, did you know this? Usually we do walks in the park, but we must have just missed this one. But the best case that we think is it was done sometime between 1 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the morning. So we don't have anybody out in our parks at that time watching things. But if you see something like that, please let us know. I've got a great show next week as well. Franklin County engineer Cornell Robertson is going to be coming here. We're going to be probably talking a little bit about that Wagner Road project, as this is a great deal of work between Franklin County, Truro Township, and the city of Reynoldsburg. So we've got a lot of fun things going on there. As always, stay safe, stay respectful. And I have one question, apparently. Yes.
Just one. DeWine just came and I figured I'd grab you before you say goodbye. It says, when will the service app be going live?
That's a really good question. Jennifer, when is that service app going live?
Shortly before the end of the year.
All right. So apparently before the end of the year. So we're just getting all of those things taken care of. It's an Apple licensing thing to make sure it's available on all platforms. And the city didn't have Apple. The city, apparently we're an Android city, except everybody's cell phone, which is Apple. I don't know. But we are working on that. So we've got that on. With that, everybody else stay safe, stay respectful. And as always, please put your shopping carts away. Have a great day, everybody. And again, thanks to Stephanie McCloud for taking some time out of her busy schedule to talk with us today. All right. Bye, everybody.